For a long, eerie moment, Marcus stood still, following Arthur's gaze to the second-floor window. The curtains moved, not from the wind, but as if someone inside had quietly stepped back. Arthur's jaw tightened. Marcus felt it immediately. That shift in the air when something bigger, darker, is lurking just beneath the surface. "Sir," Marcus said carefully, "are you saying someone else in this house has been using your name?" Arthur didn't answer immediately. His eyes stayed fixed on that window. When he finally spoke, his voice was low. "Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like the video and tell us where you are watching from." "Marcus, this home has 15 staff members. Assistants, planners, consultants, contractors, and family who come and go. But only one person has unrestricted access to my office. Only one person knows every password, every document, every detail." Marcus waited. Arthur inhaled deeply. "My brother." Eleanor flinched as if struck. "Arthur, no, Charles wouldn't. He couldn't have done this." Arthur turned to her sharply. "Wouldn't he?" "Eleanor, think." His voice grew harsher, years of bottled frustration breaking loose. "Charles has been angling for control of my company for a decade. He thinks I'm too soft, that my investments in community programs are a waste of capital. He's always wanted more power, more leverage." Eleanor shook her head desperately. "Charles is reckless, not cruel. He's competitive, arrogant, but he's family. He loves you." Arthur's eyes hardened. "Eleanor, loving someone doesn't make them honest." Marcus quietly stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Sir, forgive me, but what exactly did your accountant find?" Arthur slowly opened the folder under his arm and pulled out a single sheet. Copied bank signatures, side by side. Marcus leaned in. The first signature belonged to Arthur. Elegant, calm strokes, steady. The second, sharper, slanted, almost identical, but not quite. Marcus felt his stomach twist. "Someone forged your name." Arthur nodded. "And they were smart. Very smart. They used my old signature style, the one I abandoned years ago. The one only my family would recognize." Eleanor covered her mouth in horror. But then, footsteps. Slow, deliberate, coming from the doorway behind them. Marcus turned. A tall man in a slate gray suit stepped out onto the patio. Athletic build. A calm smirk resting on his lips. Sunglasses despite the shade. He looked familiar. Too familiar. Arthur stiffened instantly. "Charles." Charles Kensington slid off his sunglasses and smiled as if he'd just walked into a cocktail party. "Well," he said casually, "looks like I arrived at a very interesting moment." Eleanor stood abruptly. "Charles, tell him. Tell Arthur you didn't do anything." But Charles didn't even look at her. His gaze locked onto Arthur. "Big brother," he said smoothly, "you seem tense. Trouble with the help?" His eyes flicked to Marcus with icy dismissal. Arthur stepped forward. "Marcus is not the help. He's a working man with dignity. Something you might want to learn." Charles smirked. "You always did have a soft spot for strays." Marcus felt heat rise in his chest, but Arthur raised a hand, silently telling him not to react. Charles crossed his arms, amused. "I heard you were upset. Something about bank accounts? Missing funds? Signatures?" He winked. "Sounds messy." Arthur's voice dropped to a warning growl. "Did you think I wouldn't find out?" A slow smile crept across Charles's face, a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Oh, I knew you'd find out," he said. "The question is..." "Arthur." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Do you know what you're going to lose for exposing it?" Eleanor gasped. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. Arthur's fists clenched at his sides. "What are you talking about?" Charles tapped his chest lightly. "You think this is about money? About accounts?" He shook his head. "No, brother. This is about control." Marcus inhaled sharply. Charles continued. "You've built an empire that's too emotional, too ethical." He spat the word like poison. "Investing in community schools, minority programs, mentorship pipelines. It's cute, Arthur. It really is." He smirked. "But it's not profitable." Arthur's voice went cold. "Profit means nothing if you lose your soul." Charles laughed. That's why you'll never beat me." Then he glanced at Marcus. "And that is why you let people like that onto your property." Marcus's jaw tightened. But once again Arthur subtly motioned for calm. Arthur took a breath. "Charles, I'm going to the board. Today. With everything." Charles's smile faded slowly. "Are you?" "Yes. You forged my name. You siphoned company funds. And you tried to use Eleanor as a shield." Charles's eye twitched, the first crack in his composure. "Be very careful, brother," he said quietly. "You think you know what's happening, but you don't." Arthur narrowed his gaze. "What does that mean?" Charles chuckled darkly. "You're hunting the wrong wolf." Then, he turned to leave. No rush. No fear. No guilt. Just a chilling, calculated calm. But before he stepped inside, he paused, looked over his shoulder, and said, "Oh, and Arthur." A slow, sinister smile spread across his lips. "It wasn't just your name I forged." Marcus felt a cold ripple travel through his chest. Charles's final words were almost whispered, but they hit harder than a gunshot. "You should check your daughter's accounts." Arthur froze. Eleanor gasped, stumbling backward. Marcus's eyes widened, and Charles disappeared into the mansion, leaving a silence so thick it felt suffocating. Arthur's voice cracked when he finally spoke. "My daughter?" Marcus stepped forward. "Sir, what does he mean?" Arthur swallowed hard. "He means this goes deeper than fraud." He stared at the window again, but this time his face wasn't angry. "I was terrified." "He means," Arthur whispered, "my own daughter might be in danger." Arthur's hands trembled, for the first time in Marcus's presence. Not from rage, not from betrayal, but from fear. "My daughter," he whispered again, staring up at that dark, still window. Marcus stepped closer, steady, calm. "Sir, whatever this is, you won't face it alone." Arthur blinked hard, grounding himself. No, we need to move. Now." Eleanor rushed to Arthur, frantic. "Arthur, please. Charles is trying to scare you. He always tries to get into your head." But Arthur didn't hear her. He was already moving toward the house. Marcus followed. Inside, the mansion was too quiet, like it was holding its breath. Every footstep echoed. Every shadow looked like it was hiding something. As they reached the staircase, Arthur called out, "Lily." No answer. "Lily, sweetheart. It's Dad. Come downstairs." Silence. Arthur started up the stairs, but Marcus gently stopped him. "Sir, slow down. Let me go first." Arthur hesitated, then nodded. Marcus ascended carefully, scanning every doorway, every corner. He reached the landing. A soft clicking sound came from down the hallway. Marcus turned. A bedroom door slowly opening. Arthur pushed past him. "Lily? Lily." He ran inside. The room was empty, but the window was open, curtains fluttering softly. Arthur's voice cracked. No, God, no." Marcus spotted something on the desk. A phone. Lily's phone. And, on the screen, a bank alert notification. Marcus picked it up and handed it to Arthur. Arthur's face drained of color. Another account transferred. In her name. Eleanor rushed in, breathless. "Oh my God, is she missing?" "Arthur, where's Lily?" But Marcus held up a hand. "Everyone stops. Think." He scanned the room again. Open window. Footprints on the carpet. A faint smell of cologne. Not Arthur's. Not Lily's. Charles's. Marcus's voice dropped. "Sir, I don't think Lily's missing." He turned toward the hallway. "I think Charles got to her first." Arthur's breathing quickened. He couldn't. But Marcus shook his head. He's desperate. Cornered. He'll drag anyone down with him, even family. Then, from downstairs, bang. The three of them froze. Another bang. A door slamming open. Arthur's voice was barely a whisper. "Oh God." Marcus moved fast. He led the way down the stairs, every step filled with tension. Voices drifted from the living room. One voice trembled. One voice calm, too calm. Marcus stepped into the room and froze. Lily. She stood near the fireplace, arms wrapped around herself, shaking, but unharmed. And next to her, Charles. holding nothing. No weapon. No threat. Just a chilling smile. "Well," he said softly, "now things are interesting." Arthur lunged. "Get away from my daughter." Marcus caught him, held him back. "Sir, wait." Charles raised his hands mockingly. "Relax. I didn't touch her." Lily stepped forward quickly. "Dad, I'm okay. I'm okay, he didn't hurt me." Charles nodded. "Correct. I didn't harm her. But I did show her something important." Arthur's stomach twisted. "Lily, what did he show you?" Lily swallowed, tears forming. "Dad, he showed me your will." Arthur blinked. "What?" Charles smirked. "Oh yes, the will. The one that names Lily as majority heir, but only if the company meets certain ethical benchmarks." Marcus understood instantly. Charles's voice cut through the room. "He wants you to know the truth. You see, Marcus, Arthur's morals? His community initiatives? That isn't generosity. It was a strategy." He smiled wider. "He built all of it to protect the company from me." Arthur stepped forward slowly. "Lily, sweetheart, that's not why I did any of it." Charles shrugged. "Maybe. Maybe not. But it hardly matters now." He reached into his jacket pocket. Arthur stiffened. But Charles only pulled out a USB drives. He tossed it onto the table. "That," Charles said calmly, "is every document, every forged signature, every transfer. Including the one I set up in Lily's name." Arthur's breath caught. "You're confessing." "I'm surrendering," Charles corrected. "Because I know something you don't." Marcus narrowed his eyes. "And what's that?" Charles looked at Arthur, eyes suddenly, strangely, sorrowful. "That I was never your enemy." The room went still. Charles exhaled. "Arthur, somebody else inside your company helped me forge those documents. Someone with more access than even I had." He leaned in. "Someone who fed me passwords, schedules, even copied your handwriting for me." Arthur shook his head. "Who?" Charles whispered. "Your vice president." Marcus's jaw tightened. "The one you made co-trustee," Charles added. "The one who convinced you I was the threat, so he could frame me while climbing into your seat." Arthur staggered backward. Charles wasn't lying. Marcus could see it in his eyes. The real wolf had been hiding behind Arthur's trust. Charles placed a hand on Lily's shoulder. "Your VP wanted Lily blamed. Not me. Not anyone else." He whispered. "He was going to destroy your family from the inside." Arthur stared at him, rage and confusion warring in his eyes. "Why tell us now?" Charles sighed. "Because Lily didn't deserve to carry that. You didn't either. And because I'm tired, Arthur." For a moment, Charles looked human, exhausted, broken. He lifted his hands. "Call the police. I'll testify. I'll take my share of the blame." Marcus stepped forward. "Charles, why help him now?" Charles looked past him, out toward the garden where Marcus had been insulted hours earlier. "Because somewhere along the way, I forgot what this family was supposed to stand for." The sirens grew louder outside. Red and blue lights filled the room. Arthur swallowed hard. "Charles, thank you." Charles nodded. "Don't thank me. Just fix what's left." Police burst in. Charles stepped forward willingly. Lily cried softly. Arthur held her tightly. And Marcus, once just a gardener, stood silent, witnessing a family torn down by ego and rebuilt by truth. As Charles was led away, he turned back to Marcus. "Hey," he said quietly, "Gardner." Marcus raised an eyebrow. Charles smirked faintly. "You were right. Dignity has nothing to do with status." And then he was gone. The house fell silent. Arthur turned to Marcus. "You saved my family." Marcus shook his head. "No, sir. Your brother did. In the end, he chose the right side." Arthur nodded slowly. "But you gave me the strength to listen." He extended his hand, not as a wealthy CEO, not as a man of status, but as a man humbled. "Marcus, would you consider joining me? Not as a gardener, as my community relations advisor." Eleanor gasped. Lily smiled through tears. Marcus blinked, overwhelmed. "Sir, I don't know what to say." Arthur smiled softly. "Say yes, and help me rebuild what nearly broke." Marcus exhaled, then nodded. "Yes, sir. I'll help. Arthur stepped closer and whispered. And, together, we make sure the wolves never get close again. Join us to share meaningful stories by hitting the like and subscribe button. We celebrate you.